All right, goodbye. 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 Hello! 2025. Out of all of the years of Magic the Gathering, this was one of them. Honestly, a lot happened in Magic this year, from wonderful things to significantly less wonderful things. Were there more good things or bad things to happen in the game this year? Who is to say? In this video, I am. That is how it works. Why am I explaining this to you? You clicked on the video. What do you want from me? Just let me do my job, okay? Presented here are the 5 best things to happen in Magic the Gathering this year. Now, these are the 5 best things for the game that were done by Wizards of the Coast specifically. While there were many, many great things to happen in this game that came from the community and the players within it, I want to focus on the decisions, actions, and products put out by the company that makes the game. As you watch this video, you may start to wonder if I've excluded a particular set this year that was legitimately very good. It may seem extra noteworthy that this set is missing from this list because it is, by all accounts, the best set of its kind that was released this year. To learn why I've omitted Edge of Eternities from the Best of 2025 list, you'll need to watch my Worst of 2025 video that I'll release in a few days. And no, Edge of Eternities is not one of the worst things to happen in 2025. But the circumstances that led to Edge of Eternities not being one of the best things to happen in 2025 is one of the worst things to happen in 2025, and that's all I'm going to say about it in this video. I probably already just gave it away. Let's talk about positive, because I'm positive you're going to agree with me on many items on this list, and even on those you don't, it just means you'll be commenting on other great things to happen this year in the comments below, so let's celebrate the good times. Come on. So with all that being said, let's get to the best things to happen in Magic the Gathering this year. Hey, who cares about the best of the year? Get to the worst of the year. I want to hear you say bad things about Micro Center. Why would I say bad things about Micro Center? They pay me money to tell people that they have great deals on... what is it, like air conditioners or whatever? Computers and computer accessories, brah. I said or whatever. Who the hell are you anyway? I'm Jack, the Christmas Jack, and I'm a selfish, greedy scalper. Also, I hate Micro Center because they don't sell scalps. No, idiot, because they do sell Magic the Gathering products at MSRP. There's never been any markups on Magic products at Micro Center. I don't know, isn't that a good thing? I mean, I struggled to get a Chocobo bundle, ended up paying above MSRP, and in the end, I ended up with a bundle that wasn't even in English. I should have just gone to Micro Center. I hate Micro Center because that's not part of the ad, by the way. I legitimately should have gone to Micro Center for the Chocobo bundle. Yeah, I hate... like, why didn't I just go to Micro Center? What am I, stupid? Like, can we do my bit already? Oh, yes, sorry. Go on, big boy. I hate Micro Center because they actively work to combat scalpers such as moi. Ooh, those... no, wait. They limit quantities you can buy on products like specialty collector booster things and whatever, so I can't just go in there with a shopping cart and buy them all up. I really wanted 100 Chocobo bundles so I could sell them for more than I paid for. What's wrong with that? Micro Center is the premier place for all your computer, electronics, and computing accessory needs. They also carry awesome items like Magic the Gathering products and focus on in-person sales with their friendly human person staff. With locations all around the country, check out your local Micro Center today. Or tomorrow if today doesn't work out for you. I get it, you're busy. Try not to get overwhelmed. Life is really hard right now. Hang in there. We're proud of you. Wow, I was just going to go to Micro Center to buy Magic the Gathering product, but now I will buy a 3D printer and things. Curse you, Micro Center! I am neutral towards them, but skew positive because of the money they pay me to tell you about Micro Center! I'd like to begin with an honorable mention. Back in May of this year, Wizards of the Coast announced that they had finally completed the years-long process of importing Magic the Gathering's youngest non-rotating format into Magic's premier digital platform. That's right, an honorable mention goes to Pioneer being made an official format on Magic Arena. Yes, they're still missing a few thousand cards, and yes, I do indeed think they should put some effort into getting those cards onto the platform. And yes, this is also the year that Wizards all but killed Pioneer as a competitive format, but this is the positive video, and putting Pioneer on Arena as an official format really was a big deal, and really was one of the best things to happen this year. And despite not having every Pioneer legal card on Arena, Wizards of the Coast still managed to have mirrored the competitive metagame to a T, and the simple existence of a high-fidelity Pioneer format on Arena is a tiny life preserver for an otherwise drowning format to cling to in the vast ocean of WotC neglect. It's not enough to save the format from dying of other causes without further attention, which is why this is just an honorable mention, but it is something to keep it afloat throughout the long year of no in-paper competitive events in 2026. Magic Arena has more daily users than any other method of playing Magic can claim. People play Arena on their phone, they play it while waiting at the doctor's office, or when they have a random 40 minutes to kill between more important things. Thanks to being a legal format on Arena, Pioneer can receive a huge influx of new players, which it desperately needs these days. Unfortunately, I really worry that this just won't be enough to save the format from a slow and silent death. It simply needs more attention from Wizards. It needs real paper tournaments. It needs real RCQs, Spotlight Series, and the rest. But despite all that, it at least is now a present format on Arena. We can build on this. Maybe we'll get Pioneer Challenger decks with Arena redemption codes in them, or again, that competitive Magic support that Pioneer so desperately needs. And to hear more detailed thoughts about Pioneer coming to Arena, check out my video about Pioneer coming to Arena, as well, of course, as my video about Pioneer's desperate need for competitive support and how a lack of that support is essentially killing the format. But enough about things in Magic the Gathering that WotC has unalived that I wish they hadn't. Number 5 on our list is something that WotC has unalived that I'm really glad they did, and that's the canceled Monster Hunter Secret Lair. No, I'm not kidding. The Monster Hunter Secret Lair was a disaster, and Wizards of the Coast's choice to cancel it is one of the best things to happen this year. Thank Urza they canned that mess. I'm not being glib either, nor is this any kind of dig at WotC. I legitimately feel the decision to cancel Monster Hunter is a tiny glimmer of hope for the future of this game, because they're gonna bring it back in 2026, and they're gonna bring it back right. For those of you who missed this, in November, Wizards announced a secret lair that was to be a crossover with the popular video game franchise Monster Hunter. Unfortunately, the cards they picked for the secret lair were all terrible. They had little or no value. They even had typos in them. In response to the community outcry, Wizards announced that they were pulling the plug on this secret lair. But it's not just gone. Wizards has promised that it is only postponed to allow them to rework the super drop and release it as it should have been, as a quality secret lair. Hallelujah. This may seem like a small item to have on my top 5 list of the best things to happen this year, but I feel its inclusion is absolutely warranted. Let's be honest, this decision probably cost the company money. It certainly cost them some face. It was embarrassing, and it couldn't have gone over well with their collaborator, Capcom. And yet, despite all that, for once, WotC chose the good of the game and the good of the community over their bottom line. Come on, when was the last time Wizards of the Coast pulled a product that they had already printed prior to its launch in response to the fact that that product sucked? With Aftermath Epilogue boosters, for instance, the product came out and was an absolute dud of a disaster. A financial blow that local game stores felt more than WotC, by the way. But, you know, they already had tons of mini booster sets planned. So what did Wizards of the Coast do? They just rolled them out anyway under different wrappers. In one case, they reconfigured the planned mini boosters as the big score bonus sheet for Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And in another, more disastrous case, they delayed the release of Lorwyn, which was originally supposed to come out this year, so that they could turn the mini booster set into Spider-Man. One of the worst decisions imaginable. But them deciding to cancel the Monster Hunter Secret Lair shows us there is a line that they are willing not to drop below. There is a point that WotC can reach where they say, You know what? It's costing us a bit of money, but it's worth it for our integrity and the good of the game. Let's get this right. The potential lack of there being a bottom too low to cross has been a growing dread of mine over the past couple of years as Wizards of the Coast continues to hold up corporate profits over any other consideration. I legitimately didn't know if there was a bridge too far, and the possibility that there wasn't was deeply worrisome for me as someone who loves this game. Now we know there is a point past which WotC will not go. Wizards of the Coast is demonstrably willing to backpedal on a bad product idea before the product is in players' hands. And I hope very much this is a sign of other backpedals on other bad products that we'll surely see down the road. All right, enough about bad products that may or may not actually be made. Let's talk about something awesome that has been made, or at least will be made in March of 2026, though it was already made this year, and that is the Dandan Secret Lair. Not to be confused with Secret Lair Dandan, also probably coming out next year, along with a bunch of other stuff. The Dandan Secret Lair is a complete, ready-to-play, right-out-of-the-box 80-card shared deck gameplay experience. You get everything you need to play the Dandan format with a friend. What a wonderful idea for a Secret Lair. At MagicCon Atlanta, not only was the complete deck list for the upcoming Dandan Secret Lair revealed, but players also had the opportunity to buy their own copies. So yes, this product did technically come out this year. And you know, you can even buy a copy of the Secret Lair Dandan right now on the secondary market for extremely ridiculous high prices. Don't do that, just wait until next year. But the point is, I think it's fair to count the Dandan Secret Lair as something that happened this year, especially given the reason why the product isn't coming out until next. First off, this is exactly the sort of thing Secret Lair should be used for. Wizards of the Coast could have used this product slot to release yet another complete commander deck as a Secret Lair, and that would have been fine. They usually have pretty good value, but at this point, it's nothing special. But they didn't do that. They chose to use the slot on promoting and providing an entry point for an awesome player-created micro-format instead, and that is exactly what Secret Lair should be used for. Dandan is a masterpiece in the realm of player-created Magic formats. Two players shuffle up the same 80-card mono blue deck, draw hands of 7 cards each, and then proceed to play an otherwise normal Magic game using a shared deck and graveyard. The only win condition? A weird little 4/1 fish known as Dandan. I won't go over all the intricacies of the format here, but if you'd like to see it played with Ristic Studies and my dear friend George, then you can watch that episode of Shuffle Up and Play here. Sam has been one of the biggest advocates of Dandan outside of its own creator, and I'll also link the Ristic Studies video he did on the format as well. The biggest barrier to entry to Dandan is that there's no easy way to acquire all of the cards. Prior to this Secret Lair, if you wanted to build your own Dandan deck, you'd either have to hunt down all the cards individually or place a cumbersome bulk order with an online vendor. And while that by no means was some insurmountable hurdle, it was definitely annoying enough to screen out all but the most enthusiastic of new Dandan players. But now that there's Secret Lair Dandan, it couldn't be easier to acquire your very own Dandan deck. You'll be able to buy it all in one place at one price on the Secret Lair website. And on top of that, you'll get a set of 10 Dandans with gorgeous new artwork. And imagine what this could mean for the future now that Wizards has seen how popular this Dandan Secret Lair is. Maybe instead of yet another commander deck, we could see things like Secret Lair Pauper decks, Secret Lair Battle Box, a Secret Lair Peasant Cube or Tubert. The possibilities are endless. Just check out my video on some of the top casual formats out there. Any one of these would make for an awesome Secret Lair. Finally, this is WotC using Secret Lair not to merely pander to FOMO-driven collectors or capitalize on the already booming commander enthusiasts, but this is them using it to grow the game, to cultivate other ways to play, and most importantly, to provide a complete play experience all contained within a single product. And a product like this, it probably wouldn't work so well on store shelves, but it works perfectly as a Secret Lair. It's everything Secret Lair should be. And as for why it's not coming out this year, well, Wizards of the Coast originally developed this product without inviting Nick Floyd, the creator of Dandan, to be a part of it. Apparently, they didn't even tell him it was happening. And I want to stress, Nick Floyd did not just popularize this format. He literally created it and then worked tirelessly to popularize and promote it. He tuned and tested Dandan for years, cultivating it into what it is today. It is his creation, and Wizards went ahead and made this product without even calling him up on the phone. It was a terrible choice. But in yet another instance of listening to community outcry, well, Wizards of the Coast made right on this. Nick is now involved in the Dandan secret lair, and the fact that he was brought in to be involved is likely a big part of that delay. And while Nick can't reveal exactly what's going on behind the scenes and his involvement in it, he has made some comments to indicate he is advocating strongly to ensure that all players who want this product can get it. What a great community advocate. I mean, does that mean print to demand? I sure hope so. Maybe add your voice to Nick's by A, saying something nice about the Dandan secret lair to Wizards through their many social media channels, and then by urging them, again politely, to ensure that it is a print to demand product so that all players who want one can get one at a fair price. So for all those reasons and more, I am saying that one of the best things to happen in 2025 is the Dandan secret lair and Wizards of the Coast knocking it back into March to work with its creator to ensure better accessibility of this product. I'm honestly to the moon over Dandan secret lair. What a slam dunk, one of the best moves of 2025 in Magic the Gathering, without a doubt. If the Dandan secret lair is wonderful for what it offers casual play, the number 3 item on our list is on the other end of the casual competitive spectrum. That's because the third best thing to happen in Magic is the continued investment in and expansion of competitive play. Quite simply, competitive Magic is doing the best it's done since COVID. First and foremost, the Spotlight series has been a huge success. I listed the return of GPs as one of the best things to happen last year, but as we have witnessed the events such as this year's Spotlight series unfold, I can now say without a doubt that they've been simply incredible. These are open invite tournaments. You don't need to win an RCQ or anything like that to play in them if you want to, and the top 8 of every Spotlight series qualifies directly for the Pro Tour. A fantastic path towards the championship for any Magic the Gathering players who want to participate. The Spotlight series is effectively the GPs of Magic's past without the addition of Pro points. In other words, there's no continuity between Spotlight series events, and therefore no pressure to grind all of them. You can just play in the ones you want to play in, the ones you have access to, and people have certainly been playing in them. There were 8 Spotlight series events in 2025, 5 in the United States, 2 in Europe, and 1 in Japan. These events ranged from standard to limited to modern. The events were such a success that the Spotlight series is expanding to 12 events in 2026, with some of them happening concurrently to provide players around the world the opportunity to play. That means that if you want to play in the Avatar Spotlight event on January 9th, you can play either in Atlanta, Georgia, or in France. For the first time, there will be Spotlight events in Canada, China, and Australia. And hopefully, if these continue to be a success, we'll see even more expansion in 2027. And even beyond the Spotlight series, competitive Magic is thriving. The RCQ to RC to PT pipeline is doing exactly what it was intended to do. Provide players with a clear path to professional Magic that begins at their local game stores. I strongly hope that the success of competitive play in 2025 leads to further support and expansion in the years to come. Specifically, I'd love to see an increased investment in competitive Magic in other parts of the world, besides just North America and Europe. South America, Asia, and Australia all have the player base necessary to fill these events. They should have just as much opportunity to play high-level Magic as anyone else. Number 2 on our list swings back towards the casual, with the only in-universe product containing new cards to crack our list, Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander decks. No, not Tarkir Dragonstorm itself, but the Commander decks? One of the best things to happen in Magic this year. Tarkir Dragonstorm, for all the hype it received leading up to its release, turned out to be somewhat a forgettable set. It gave us one broken card in Corey Steelcutter and several other fun toys to play with, but it has not left the kind of mark you'd hope for from one of the only sets this year to actually feel like a classic Magic set. But while I don't feel that Tarkir Dragonstorm is one of the best things to happen in Magic this year, I do feel that its commander decks were. The 5 decks, Sultai Arisen, Abzan Armor, Temur Roar, Jeskai Striker, and Mardu Surge, are not only the best commander precons of 2025, they're honestly some of the best commander precons we've ever received. And I really do mean ever. These decks are powerful and evocative right out of the box, and they all offer a few clear directions for upgrading for those players who wish to do so. They are very evenly matched with one another, and they actually feel like the clans that they're supposed to represent, especially the new direction of the clans after the events of the previous con block. Most importantly, the decks are just fun to play with. Sultai Arisen, the deck we previewed on this channel, is still my favorite of the 5. The deck was filled with awesome new graveyard-centric designs and multiple needed reprints within the 99. Temur Roar had absurd late-game inevitability with tons of powerful dragons that dominated the board as soon as they hit play. This was probably the most powerful of all 5, likely to be the favorite to win a pod made up of any 4 of the 5 decks here. Jeskai Striker was a deck I actually underrated at the time of release, but over time it's grown on me. Yeah, I still play with these. The gameplay experience of this deck is surprisingly unique compared to most commander precons. There are some wild synergies and play patterns possible even before you upgrade a single card. Mardu Surge, another incredibly powerful deck with crazy synergies. This precon was especially well suited to more experienced players who like to be rewarded for their more intricate knowledge of the game. And Abzan Armor was the first explicitly toughness matters precon in all of Magic history. This deck is capable of creating massive board states full of incredibly beefy creatures that will outsize all but those of Temur Roar. You're actually going to get to see me playing with an upgraded version of this deck in a future Shuffle Up and Play. So yes, I do indeed still play with these precons, still upgrade them, still love them. All in all, the Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander precons were excellent products, crowning achievements in Commander precon design. Truly, this was a product for everyone, new and old players alike, established and casual. They hit every mark and checked every box. In many ways, I feel that the Commander precons for Tarkir harkened back to the old days when Commander precons only came out once per year and were much more memorable and much more distinct in what they offered the format. So while I didn't feel that the Tarkir Dragonstorm main set really was worthy of a spot on this top 5 list, the Commander precons that were associated with it, absolutely the second best thing to come out in Magic the Gathering in 2025. But what exactly was the number 1 best thing to happen in Magic the Gathering this year? Well, the number 1 best thing to happen in Magic the Gathering in 2025 was Edge of Eternities. Truly, this was hands down the greatest set of the year. Deep, rich flavor, an engaging story, and some of the most fantastic card designs that we've seen all came together to be disqualified from taking the number 1 spot for reasons that truly suck. And not just suck, but suck hard. I am talking some hard suckage which prevents me from giving Edge of Eternities the true spot as the greatest thing to happen in Magic all year. For details on why, tune in tomorrow for our worst things to happen in Magic video. Well, I say tomorrow, it's really going to be like Monday, but tune in next time. But before you go, what was the true best thing to happen in Magic the Gathering all year? Well, it's actually a tie between, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a tie between 2 Universes Beyond products, Avatar: The Last Airbender and Final Fantasy. I can already hear you screaming at me about at least one of those 2 sets, but before you go on, let me explain. To begin, these are both fantastic sets, brilliant executions of the Universes Beyond design goals to translate existing IP into Magic the Gathering. The designers of these sets took known characters, story beats, and alternative Magic systems and transformed them into something that feels like Magic, without losing the feel of Final Fantasy or Avatar. By the highest standards of what Universes Beyond sets should be, both Final Fantasy and Avatar succeed. And they succeeded as Magic sets as well, offering fantastic, truly fantastic draft environments, and both integrated really well into Standard, with one notable VV-sized exception. Yeah, there was Vivi, but Vivi aside, I believe Final Fantasy is the best thing to happen this year for a few reasons. First of all, Final Fantasy did the other thing Universes Beyond was supposed to do better than Avatar, and arguably better than any other Universes Beyond product. That is to say, it brought in fans of the outside property to Magic the Gathering. Seriously, Final Fantasy was enormously popular among non-Magic players. And they didn't just buy this set to put the decks on their shelves gathering dust. They bought this set and became Magic the Gathering players. With Final Fantasy, Wizards of the Coast created a genuine bridge for people who loved Final Fantasy but had never given Magic the Gathering a shot. And since it wasn't just a set, but a collection of commander decks as well, there were multiple entry points for anyone interested. Packs of Final Fantasy were flying off the shelves, as evidenced by the astounding heights of the cost of collector boosters, and even play booster packs. And because the release coincided with a Magic Con, the set got way more publicity and hype than any other set this year, and it got players out to those events, to those local game stores. It got people not just buying product, but playing the game. And while Avatar stumbled by not having commander decks, in terms of game designs, the set is truly a masterpiece. Avatar's draft format, the impact on Standard, and the largely successful translation of the Avatar show into Magic the Gathering mechanics and cards all contributed to a legitimately all-time great set. The vast majority of important legendary designs were excellent. I did an entire video about the legendary designs, and yeah, this is me presenting the video in a funny, clickable thumbnail. Welcome to YouTube. But this video is like half an hour of me, more or less, gushing about the legendary designs of the main set. And while, no, the set did not have nearly the cultural impact outside of Magic that Final Fantasy did, it shouldn't be held against it. This is a list of the best things to happen in Magic, not the best Magic things to happen in the rest of the world. And compared to Final Fantasy, which had very little impact on Standard outside of that one miserable outlier that I will discuss in more detail in my worst of video, but that's spoilers, Avatar had a fantastic impact on Standard. Badger Mole Cub, Boomerang Basics, the Lessons package, and the Airbending combo shell are all awesome additions to the format that came to us from Avatar, offering fresh and exciting gameplay in their own unique ways. And there was a middle ground too, with decks like Simic Midrange and Is It Looting receiving single but important cards to get better. And while Final Fantasy had a great draft format in its own right, Avatar's draft environment was even better. Every color in Avatar had its merits. The bombs were powerful and fun without being totally oppressive, and the emphasis on micro synergies and monocolor payoffs over macro two-color archetypes was a bold and ultimately successful design choice. I even mentioned in earlier videos that Jesse Robkin, our head writer, a competitive Magic the Gathering player fresh off the Pro Tour, by the way, considered Avatar to be the greatest set made in quite some time. And keep in mind, she is someone who, believe it or not, hates Universes Beyond even more than I do. And she never saw nor had any interest in Avatar the TV show, so there was zero nostalgia factor. And yeah, in our meetings, she argued Avatar was not only a better set than Final Fantasy or Edge of Eternities, but heads and shoulders above. But regardless of whether you think Final Fantasy or Avatar was a better set, I strongly believe that one of the two was the best thing to happen in 2025 for Magic the Gathering, and the other maybe was the second best thing, perhaps bumping down those Tarkir precons, but that is just my opinion, and now I want to hear from you. Do you think Avatar or Final Fantasy or Edge of Eternities was the better set released in 2025? Do you think a different thing that happened this year from Wizards of the Coast should have been included in this list? Let me know in the comments below. And while you wait for our worst of Magic the Gathering video, enjoy a bit of fun where I have a very animated game of Commander with the odd ones out. Don't worry, the whole thing isn't animated. It's a real shuffle up and play. Give it a watch if you haven't already. I think it's one of our best episodes of the year.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Welcome to Shuffle Up and Play. Today, Mystery Booster 2, but we will each be building a commander deck from the contents.
It's a huge set. I'm trying to remember how many cards were in it?
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with the garbage, by the way, so I've just been
Sure.
chucking it behind me.
Our highly skilled editors will love picking up Foxy's
I'm gonna
garbage.
pick it up! I'm gonna pick it up!
Play a Forest and a Mox Poison.
Oh! How did Fast Mana get into this?
Josh made the saddest face. Look at that! How am I supposed to? I hit you for 7. Untap.
Yes, you will.
Thank you so much
It
for
resolves.
allowing. I
It
will
resolves.
draw. Okay.
It resolves.
Thanks so much.
You haven't said how's it once. You said hello in your intro.
How's it? How's it? How's it? Now you got it. Editors
All
are
right.
good? Okay.
Yeah.